Today I'm turning 29, which feels like a really significant year for me. I know that 30 is the biggie, but 29 is the last year of my 20s, and whilst I'm really excited for my 30s, it's gonna be kind of strange to say goodbye to my 20s. So I'm definitely gonna make the most out of 29. 28 was amazing. I did so many fun things, I did so many bucket list things, so many new experiences. I had a great 28th year. I think if I'd have told 20-year-old me what I was going to do in my 20s, what I was actually going to do in my 20s versus the things that I thought I would do, I think I'd be pretty surprised, but also pretty excited. I definitely didn't envisage buying my own home in my mid-20s on my own. Didn't see that one coming, but I'm so proud of myself for doing it, and I love my space and everything that it's allowed me to do. I certainly wouldn't have expected that I'd be carving a career for myself in my late 20s as a photographer, and I think I'd be so excited about the idea of doing that. Those ideas that I had when I went into my 20s about what my 20s were going to be like have certainly changed shape quite a lot, and I think that's something I've learned as well over my 20s, is that you can have a plan, you can have an idea of what you want to do in life, but there's going to be curveballs and it's going to chop and change, and maybe what you want will change as well, which is certainly the case for me. What I want now is definitely not the same as what I wanted when I was in my early 20s, and it's interesting to look back on it all. Today, to celebrate, I'm heading into London with my mum. We're going to an interactive art exhibition called Frameless, and then we're heading to some vintage markets. This is my first time filming in my little reading nook, and I love it so much. If you haven't watched the video of me making this space, I will leave a link to that above. I wanted to do a little bit of a birthday book haul and also a little reading catch up, so I got a couple of books for my birthday, the first of which I am very excited to try out later today. This is the 30-day sketchbook project by Minnie Small. Minnie Small is one of my favourite artist YouTubers, and this book is basically her advice on how to fill a sketchbook. It's really beautiful. Her art style is gorgeous. I think the reason I came across her is because she did a load of like small houses with watercolor paintings, and they were just absolutely beautiful. But this book just teaches you everything you need to know about filling a sketchbook and developing your art skills. I love drawing and I love playing around with painting as well. It's something that I did a lot more of a couple of years ago, and it was just so nice to have something that was just for me and not to be sharing with anyone, just something that I did as a mindful activity. And over the years I have got very busy and it's kind of taken a little bit of a back seat, but with this, I'm gonna get back into it. Oh, also, I got a bookmark yesterday at Frameless, which was, by the way, so amazing. If you have the opportunity to go to Frameless in London, it's such a cool immersive experience. The art was like 360 around you. There was 4 different rooms, different themes of art in each room, and it's just The experience, I'll never forget it. I'll never look at art the same way again as well. It's like it's puppeteering the artwork, so you can kind of feel like you're interacting with it almost, and you literally can interact with it in some rooms. You can like tread on the floor and the floor moves around you. Just, it was so cool, the whole thing. Absolutely fantastic. It was about a 90-minute experience, and I can't recommend it enough. And I bought a little bookmark. This is my favourite variation of Van Gogh Sunflowers. I have this up in my office as well, so of course I had to get it on a bookmark. I got a couple of books sent through to me off of my wish list, and one of those was Homegoing by Yaa Gyasi. This is one that I added to my wish list because I was looking for something that had that journey of following somebody along their life in the same way that Pachinko and The Mountains Sing did, because those books just grabbed me so hard and they were just so emotive and powerful, and I really wanted to read other books that had that kind of journey about them, so I was recommended this one, added it to my wish list. So this is following two sisters with different destinies. One is sold into slavery, one is a slave trader's wife. The consequences of their fate reverberate through the generations that follow, so this spreads across continents and generations. It's intense, a heartbreaking story of one family, and through their lives, the story of America itself. I feel like this is going to be incredibly powerful. I mean, the reviews on the back: a wonderful, evocative and compassionate novel, better than perfection, a touch of magic, a beautiful, wise and illuminating novel that doesn't flinch from its difficult subject, but manages to be healing and hopeful. Thank you so much, Margarita, for sending me this one through. I think it sounds like it's definitely going to be very beautiful and very heartbreaking. Rudely, my memory card filled up whilst I was telling you about the next books that I got, which is Cat Gamer Volume 2, 3 and 4 by Wataru Nadatani. I read the first one recently and really loved it. It's so cozy, so wholesome. It's just about a woman who gets a cat, she loves gaming, and the cat just kind of unexpectedly comes into her life. Clearly, people know I really want to read more of this series because these are from two different people and now I have the complete series. So thank you so much to Tilly and to Ev for sending these through to me because I can't wait. And the covers are so cute! On to the books that my mum got me. My mum always manages to find me books that I have never heard of before and end up really enjoying. The first one is a non-fiction and it's definitely quite a different book to anything I've read before, and I'm quite intrigued by that. The front cover is beautiful. The tagline is interesting. So this is called The End of the Road by Jack Cook, and the tagline is a journey around Britain in search of the dead. Why are we all so scared of death? Why does the modern world strive so hard to deny its existence? And what secrets and stories lie all around us, in graveyards up and down the country? Inspired by his local church, Jack Cook converts a clapped-out hearse into a camper van, embarking on a road trip in search of far-flung graves and forgotten luminaries. From cathedral crypts to island burials, The End of the Road is a quixotic? A quixotic? What does that mean?
The adjective quixotic is usually defined as extravagantly chivalrous or romantic, visionary, impractical or impracticable.
Alright, it's a quixotic, charmingly and surprisingly uplifting travel log about a hidden world that we too often ignore. So it's a travel-based non-fiction looking at death, which is very interesting. So I'm intrigued by this one. She also got me The Home by Penelope Mortimer. I really like the cover. The cover matches my trousers. It matches my trousers. I think this is a reprint version because this is published in 1971. So the blurb for this one: after years of anxiety and distress, there would once more be a home. She would make it alone, untrammeled, a free human being. Originally published in 1971, this searing novel looks at the experience of a woman escaping a faithless marriage and trying to establish a new home for grown-up children who no longer need her. Eleanor's emotional journey is often raw and dark, but there is a humour and absurdity as she grapples with her newfound singledom. Fiercely capturing the tone of the 70s, it shines a light on the reality faced by so many women of that period when forced to reassess their roles as wife and mother. I think that sounds really interesting. I love the fact that it's looking at her newfound singledom. I love the fact that it's set in the 70s. I love the fact that it matches my trousers. And finally, my mum got me this one, which is How to Photograph People by Demetrius Fordham. I am getting into wedding photography at the moment and there is so much to learn. I've always enjoyed photography and I think I've always been a decent photographer, but it's a whole other ballgame. Photographing people, posing people, lighting, composition. So I very much appreciate this and I think this is going to be really interesting. It's also a very visual book. Like there's lots of examples in it, which I think is a lot better for a photography book. There are a lot of them that are very heavy on the wording and I want it to show me more examples. So like things like this, that's beautiful. So those are the books I received for my birthday. The book I'm currently reading is Battle Royale by Koshan Takami. I am a little bit obsessed with this book. I am nearing the halfway point. It's a chunky book. This is following a group of students who are sent to an island where they basically have to kill each other with one person remaining. It's It's a film that I've watched. I have never read the book before. This is my first time, and I am having a great time. As far as you can be having a great time reading a book about people on an island killing each other. But it is so addictive. The chapters are pretty short, and every single chapter ends on a cliffhanger. I literally can't stop reading it, and I have one more chapter syndrome hard with this one. This is actually our Patreon book club pick for whatever the month we're currently in is. July. I should know that, it's my birthday month. July and August. It's our Patreon book club pick for July and August. And I am already having a lot to say. It's a very interesting commentary on society and what actually happens when you put people in that situation. Well, what happens in a fictional book when you put people in that situation. It's very Hunger Games-esque. This is like the OG Hunger Games, essentially. But it is interesting to see how people respond and who just gets on with the killing, who tries to stop the killing, who tries to like stop the system and take it all down. I'm having a great time. There are so many characters, so you're constantly entertained. It's constantly shifting on to the next thing. Tension, intensity, it's really, really grabbing me. And so I'm going to be reading this in this vlog. I'm not going to end this here. It's not just on my birthday. It's just a birthday vlog. I'm currently listening to Blue Sisters by Coco Malore. I'm listening on BookBeat. I am enjoying that so far. I was kind of going into it with hesitations because I know a lot of people have said they didn't like the narrator, but actually I'm okay with it. It's a story about sisters coming together following the death of one of their sisters and their very different lives from each other. And so far, yeah, I'm having a good time with it. It's slow and calm at the moment, and we're just kind of being introduced to all the characters. If you do want to listen to it yourself and you would like to get a free trial of BookBeat, I will leave a link down below that takes you through to give you a free 2-month trial, which is 40 hours of listening. Oh my god, something else that I got yesterday. We had such a good time yesterday. We had such a good time. So went to Selfridges, where they had a pop-up fish and chip shop for Jellycat. I have always loved Jellycat since I was a little kid. Love Jellycat. And this just... We knew that this was coming on Sunday, so the day before my birthday, we knew that this was going to come to Selfridges. We got there, we didn't know it was ticketed. Now, they said that we could wait in this kind of like overflow line, and if anyone didn't show up for their slots, we would be let in. And we were like 6 groups back in this line, and they said it could be anywhere from 10 minutes to 4 hours that we were going to wait, which seemed excessive, but we were like, okay, we'll wait for like 20 minutes, and if it doesn't move, then we'll just leave the queue. It started to move quite quickly, so we thought we'll stay in. I think we were queuing for about 25 minutes in total, and then we got through, and basically the benefit of the queuing was that you got to experience the fish and chip shop experience, as you'll have seen from the footage earlier in the vlog. We did get that experience, and there were exclusive Jellycat in the fish and chip shop experience. I'll show you the little menu. The whole thing was so cute. It was so cute. So the ones that you could get was a little fish, chips, and some mushy peas. So I immediately wanted to get the peas. I really liked the chips as well. They're very cute. The little smiley faces on them, they're so cute. I had to get the peas. My mum calls me Pea. I have a pea necklace that I wear a lot of the time. I want to get a pea tattoo. It sounds like I have an obsession with peas, but honestly it's like it just means something to me because my mum calls me Pea as my nickname. So I got the peas and I haven't opened them yet. I hope they're okay in there, but like look at the packaging. The reason I haven't opened it yet is because I kind of want to preserve the packaging process, and I want to film the unboxing of it. I mean, seriously, like the details. I can't wait to see the peas. The peas are called Peggy and Dot on their little label, but I don't know if they're Peggy and Dots, you know, I don't know. So any pea name suggestions are welcome. I do already have a Jellycat pea pod that's called Petit Pois, as in Petit Pois, but Petit Pois. So any name suggestions are welcome, but let's open up my little mushy peas. They're so cute. I'm so excited. I don't even know what's in here. I mean, there's a badge in here and like a custom sticker. I'm excited to have a look. The package, when they were wrapping it all up, they were like, do you want salt and pepper with this? Do you want like vinegar and lemon on your peas? And I'm like, oh my god, this is just the theatrics. Excellent. Anyway, let's open up my mushy peas. Well, the heat has suddenly arrived. It's been really cloudy for like a week solid. And then I went out to empty my bin and it was just like whoosh, a wave of humidity has hit me. And I can't open my windows at the moment because there is like an onslaught of flying ants outside, which is not a good time and I don't want them in my flat. So it's very, very, very hot. When I say I want the sun, I don't mean I want it when I have to be stuck inside in what just becomes a greenhouse. I want it when I can sit outside and preferably be right next to a pool that I can just jump into at any given time. Anyway, I would like to tell you some more about my experience reading this book. So I took this with me to the gym this morning. That is my dedication to this book. That is how much I'm enjoying it, because this is 600 plus pages. Walking with this on the treadmill was a feat, but I did it for about 25 minutes. I mean, yes, it would definitely be a lot easier to read on a Kindle on the treadmill, but I did my best. I am still very much enjoying this. I don't know why I'm bothering to get attached to certain characters because everybody is just being killed. I mean, that is the very nature of this book. I'm just causing myself pain at this point. There is a lot of sexism from the boys in this book towards the girls. They think that the girls just cannot look after themselves and they need the boys to protect them, and that the girls are all weak, and some of the girls are kind of playing into that and others are being like, no, I can take care of myself and I can also kill you in the process. So it's quite an interesting contrast there of how the girls are being treated versus how they actually are responding to the situations. I am finding it very interesting seeing how everybody's trying to approach this situation, and it's a very interesting question about sticking a bunch of people in this horrible, horrible scenario and seeing how they react. And I feel like the author has done a really interesting job of painting different types of reactions. And I'm still seeing new reactions come into it and how people are like trying to formulate plans, or whether people are just cracking on and trying to kill everybody they see. It's interesting. There was a couple of chapters in the middle of this that had some homophobic stereotyping and homophobic slurs, which I just feel like were really unnecessary in this book. It just didn't need to be there. So it's a shame that those were in there. I am very intrigued to see how this ends. I'm very intrigued. I can't remember how the film ended. I can't remember if the film is following that closely to this or if it's just taken inspiration from the idea of it. I can't remember. I'm definitely going to be watching the film after I finish the book, but having a good time. Also still very much enjoying Blue Sisters. It's pretty emotional and hard-hitting and just captures the sisterly relationships so brilliantly, and I'm really enjoying that. So generally, both books, big thumbs up at the moment. Well, I finished Battle Royale. This book was a journey. This was so epic and so gripping the whole way through. For a book that is over 600 pages, this just didn't slip. It was so addictive and it never got boring. It was always compelling. I just couldn't put it down. When I wasn't reading it, I was thinking about reading it. It had the recipe for a 5-star read, and it is a 5-star read. I thought it was great, and I still can't stop thinking about it. I finished it earlier, just shut the back page and was like, right, what do I do now? And started promptly Googling the film and whether it was the same plot as the book or whether it was just like inspired by the book. I have seen the film about 10 years ago, but I couldn't really remember the details of it anymore, and I felt like I couldn't remember the moments that felt more important in this book as being in the film, so I wasn't sure, but I think I just misremembered it because from a quick Google it looks like it does have the same kind of plot points crossing over. It just doesn't go into as much detail in the backstories for the characters, which makes sense because this book, being over 600 pages, definitely has the room and the time to be able to do that. And yet, even whilst doing that, it's never boring. You're getting so much information about each character and you're getting context to them. There's so many characters in this. There's 42 students in this book, so it's a lot of people, a lot of different characters to get your head around. And you don't get like in-depth stories for every single one, but you do learn little bits of information about each of them and get different characterizations for them, and I just think that was done in such a good way. The whole book, it was just so excellent, and I'm so glad that I have read this. I picked this up because it was our Patreon book club pick for July and August, so if you do want to join in on that, it is still our book for August, so we'll be discussing it in Fable. If you would like to join, there is a link down below. It's available to anyone in the Rivendell tier upwards. It's such a good book for discussion, I think, because you have got the kind of conversation of like, what would happen in this situation, and how all the students act differently, and I know I've kind of discussed that already and how that's such an interesting point, but I do think, you know, it's a really scary situation that they've been put in, and I think that the way the author handled that and discussed that was done in a really interesting way. I just can't get over how compelling this was. Like, every single chapter ended and I was like, I need to keep going, I need to find out the next thing that's happening or what happened to that one specific character, and you just care so much about the outcome of it and really want to root for them, and it's just so great. It's so great. I can't emphasize enough, whilst this is chunky, it is so fast paced and it just keeps you moving along. And yes, there's a lot of characters, but you don't feel overwhelmed, you don't feel daunted, and everything just fits together so well. It's so intriguing and gripping and just so much fun to read. 5 stars, absolutely brilliant. Bloody loved it. I'm still listening to and very much enjoying the audiobook for Blue Sisters, but I'm not going to be finishing that in this vlog, so if you do want to know my thoughts on that, that'll be in my next vlog. Thank you so much for watching this one. Thank you for joining me on my birthday week. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I will see you in the next one.